Outside of Tallahassee, however, I think he's got an issue that might play with a lot of people, depending on how it is presented. You know, a lot of people who will look at this and say, you know, I contribute to my pension, I contribute to my 401k, part of my paycheck every week goes to that, and so, you know, why shouldn't state workers? It's our money, it's our tax dollars we're talking about, arguably, and so, you know, I think he may have a winning issue there, but the thing is, it depends really on how it's portrayed. If people see this as the governors and I think the legislators, many of whom are going to go along with this, say, you know, state workers ought to pay their fair share, and that's the way people see it, he's got a winner. If it looks like an attack on some of the people who we're talking about, not just state workers, the generic state workers, if people are reminded that that means teachers, cops, firefighters, those are the people who, you know, police officers putting their lives on the line, maybe not the best paid people to begin with, and now you're asking them to put a little more of their paycheck into their, you know, their retirement. If that's the way this is seen, especially if it's seen as an attack on those professions, I think you might have some problems with it.
Brent, you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I largely agree with everything David said, and particularly in the fact that most of us do put away part of our own retirement. And I think the other thing is the general public, these are issues that go by a lot quicker with these folks. They understand the top of the issue that, oh, they're asking them to contribute a little bit to retirement, and they don't go a lot further with that. I think it is probably by and large for him across the board in Florida, something that most people agree with him on. That there needs to be some contribution to your own future.
Again, when you get into the details, though, it's not quite as simple as that. Something I should have mentioned, you know, state workers haven't had a pay raise in years, 4 or 5 years. And so, you know, cumulatively... A lot of that's
going on also, David, in the private sector.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And one thing I think that what the governor was able to do is, you know, establish the deepest cut to try and save the most money with the retirement system and pension reforms. I think what we're going to see is the legislature is going to agree with some of it, but they're not going to agree with a 5% employee cut across the board. You know, so they're going to modify but I think David's right, and if it gets portrayed as another Wisconsin, you know, and we have people looking at complete, you know, people concerned that workers' rights are being devastated or whittled down to a point where their value is being questioned, that could work against them.